Welcome back to the Creatively Challenged podcast for Monday, April 9th, 2018. This is your host, Danny Stewart. Sit across from me is the other host, Mike Stuglis. Mike, how are you? Before we address the
I'm well.
yeah, Mike is well. I am well. Uh, Ryan, on the other hand, our third host, um, unfortunately, is not well. He's well.
No, he's fine.
Yeah,
He's just stepping away from the podcast because we are college students and he has got a bit of a full plate and he's stepping away on good terms. He's our roommate. He's still one of our good friends, but he is something that he can no longer do. But we have the mantle, and we will carry on the Creatively Challenged podcast.
right. And this is something we started as friends, and it's not our jobs. It's something that we do for fun. And unfortunately, like the fun aspect for Ryan got a little bit too much on his full plate, and it got a little bit overwhelming for him. So, he's got his stuff that he needs to deal with, and we're supportive of him and what he needs to do. But Mike and I are still gonna bring you these entertainment and news and random fucking nonsense topics to this $34 card table here. Because we want to have fun. We didn't want to completely end the podcast, so we're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to be there for our friend.
We'll probably have the same structure, but I'm assuming the episodes will be a little shorter.
Yeah.
Also, over the summer, who knows? Maybe we have more friends come on while we're home, and maybe Ryan wants to every once in a while if he wants to come on. He's more than welcome to. But it's something that he can no longer enjoy week to week, as we do.
Yeah, and this also might be a call to action if you want to be a guest host for us. I mean, this was always kind of on the plate. We've had several guest hosts in the past. But if anybody ever wants to come on and talk about movie and entertainment news, please feel free to get in contact with Mike or I, and we can make that happen, just like we're making everything else happen here. So, that's all on the table. We just wanted to let you guys know since the podcast was going to be a little bit different starting today. So let's move forward into the regular stuff. Let's move into the news. So the first news topic is a trailer for HBO's Fahrenheit 451, which we've talked about before here. It's going to star, Michael B. Jordan as Guy Montag and Michael Shannon as Chief Beatty. Sophia Boutella is that one. It's that one chick, the teenage girl that kind of brings Guy out of like the structured norm and gets him to kind of be different and whatnot. But this trailer kind of got more into the plot. Beforehand, we got like teasers kind of giving us a little bit of Michael B. Jordan, a little bit of Michael Shannon, kind of like establishing the conflict. But this trailer showed more of like what happens in the book, and it kind of did more of a world establishing type of thing, so we're familiar with the Fahrenheit 451 story. It kind of happens in a dystopian future where books have kind of been, labeled as evil, harmful material, and firefighters don't put out fires, they cause fires, and they burn the books to prevent this harmful material getting into people's heads. And that was kind of the structure of this trailer, was showing that plot off, and it was pretty cool. What did you think of this trailer?
Yeah, the first one dealt more with, it almost didn't hint at all of Guy having any conflict in him. It was just kind of like, this guy loves burning books, he loves his job, and he believes in it. And this one showed the complete opposite of him feeling conflicted about it, which I thought was cool, and it didn't give away key pieces to the plot, although you can mostly piece it together by what happens if you read the book. But it was a good trailer. Michael Shannon looks terrifying, and I'm actually really interested to see Michael B. Jordan as Guy. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's just he's doing a lot of stuff right now, and Michael Shannon, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to be really intense in his performance, and he's going to do a good job as the villain. But Michael B. Jordan's a bit of a rising star, so that's why I'm interested to see this. And it again shows that this movie, for being a HBO original, actually has a budget, which is not
Right.
something you generally see with a TV movie.
And they have all these stars in it.
Right.
So that I mean that's awesome for their case. I mean it's definitely something that's fighting for them right now as a film, is having the star power and the budget that they have to make this. But something that I noticed as well in the trailer is, a line that Michael Shannon says to Michael B. Jordan. He says, like, we're only equal by the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, to modernize the story, there might be some sort of racial
Yeah, we talked
disparity.
about that in
Did
the
we?
first one. Mm-hmm.
I mean, casting Michael B. Jordan as Guy Montag, and in the book, I don't think it explicitly says Guy Montag being a white guy, but having Michael B. Jordan be a black protagonist, there is something they can do there, especially with the modern times. So that's a fun spin they could do. See how they can talk about the social problems of today, as well as bringing Ray Bradbury's novel to life.
That's in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah,
I think it's in April.
I think it's might be the 22nd. I feel like everything's happening the 22nd, but Westworld is back the 22nd too.
I thought it was the 16th.
Oh, so that's next week.
Yes. I'm checking Westworld first because
Yeah,
I'm excited for Westworld.
Westworld is the 22nd, I thought. 2 Sundays from now.
This is being gay
Ah,
and not showing up.
it's unfortunate.
Great adjective.
Yeah,
I'm an enabler. Yeah, 22nd. I was wrong.
yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Westworld is 22nd, and so is Fahrenheit 451, or is it next week? This is riveting podcast material. It's the dead air while Mike looks up the release date for this.
Oh my God! Show up.
Is your internet being slow? Mine was being slow earlier.
It's being stupid. It's in April.
Retarded means slow. Is he slow?
Yeah. It's in April. I don't feel like that.
No.
feel like
So
going too far.
whenever Fahrenheit 451 comes on, just watch it. I don't know. Just keep an eye on your local listings. Maybe use a TV guide. See, don't even look it up. Maybe use the TV guide or the paper, like they would in the book, or like Guy would in the book.
Yeah. More importantly, the movie just looks accessible to everybody and not just people who have seen. I mean, who have read the book,
Right.
seen the book.
Yeah, I've seen that book.
I've seen that book.
Did you read it? No. I'm
What?
getting just text messages, and they're all from my family, because even though I put my family group message on quiet sometimes, not because I don't want to hear what my family says, but sometimes they're talking about, like, oh, what do you guys want for dinner, or who, they're asking for rides or whatever, and it's just like,
Doesn't pertain. To
it
you.
doesn't pertain to me. I'm a state away, and I mean, that's my fault, but like, I don't care.
Are you a phone on vibrate guy?
I'm a huge phone on vibrate guy, but even though you can put certain group messages on do not disturb now, and even though I put that message on do not disturb, like, the messages still buzz my phone, and they're not supposed to.
I've become a big proponent of the silent phone. You miss stuff.
Just not even.
You miss a
not
lot
even
of calls,
buzzing.
but I like it because it's non-disturbing in class, and it kind of allows me to, like, put my phone down and not really worry about it.
See, I feel like I'm always expecting, like, an email or like a phone call or something of that nature. So, like, I need to be in tune with it. And, like, if it is something important, I don't want to miss it.
And my parents are, well, I don't know about my dad, but my mom she loves the volume. she gets the ringtones and everything, and she has a ringtone for everybody, and I can't stand it.
No.
Mom, I love you, but I cannot. It's just like when we're in public and it rings, and I'm like, we're those people right now.
My
And we're big believers in first world problems.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For me, that's a big one.
My dad's got a quacking duck as his
Yeah,
ringtone.
yeah. I can't stand that one. But I remember I was having a couple buddies sleep over once. You might have been there, and someone's ringtone went off, and it was the quacking duck at like 4 a.m. And I was like, "What
I remember
the
that.
fuck?"
Yeah. That was like junior year of high school.
Yeah, it's in high school sometime.
The quacking duck ringtone though, out of Big Jim's, he'll never miss a call. Because when that's on, you're not sleeping through it.
No.
And my dad's a huge sleeper, so, he'll never miss a call with that. But I've got one ringtone. It's Rump Shaker by Rex and Effects. And I'll tell you what, I never hear it because my phone is always on vibrate because I don't want my sounds to play.
Yeah.
The only time I ever put my phone on not silent is overnight. I'll turn my sound on because it does, like my alarm in the morning will still go off on my phone even though if my phone's on silent. But like that's another thing to where like if it's a phone call or like a text that's happening overnight, it's obviously like somewhat of an emergency, if not like an emergency overnight. So, I want to have that phone loud so I can wake up and hear it. And if it's just a text about pizza or God knows what, then it's a waste of time and I'm up at 3 a.m.
Who's sending pizza texts at 3 a.m.?
We were out drinking sometime freshman year. Or, no, sophomore year. And I think...
This isn't important.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Important. One time I got woken up in the middle of the night because someone asked me if I wanted to order a pizza. And I was just like, I haven't seen you since we left the bar. No, I don't want pizza. It's 3:30. Go to bed. I think it might have been Carrie.
This is not.
It doesn't matter.
This is terrible. This is terrible radio. We're going on about stories that don't even matter.
No, that's all right, though. It gives us a little personal flair to put on this episode.
Yeah, I guess.
This is how the shows are going to be from now on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're not going to have the level head.
But we only have 2 news topics anyway, so what's the next one?
Well, the other one's barely a news topic.
Yeah, it's just...
I just
nothing
threw it on there.
Yeah, nothing really happened this week.
John Krasinski, who starred and directed in A Quiet Place, which we saw this week, review coming up.
Yeah.
But he wants to play Mr. Fantastic in a future Marvel movie, and for those of you who don't know, Mr. Fantastic is the leader of the Fantastic Four, and he's got like ultra flexibility, and he's super smart, and all that noise. And I'm not a big fan of the Fantastic Four because their movies keep failing. But I do love John Krasinski, and the thought of him in this role is actually pretty... I think it would be like perfect casting.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like a tall and a lanky guy, which is
Yeah.
kind of how like Reed Richards is. I want to see it. I mean, we've talked about this before. I want to see a Fantastic Four movie made by Disney move forward because then we know like it'll probably be better than the other Fantastic
Fucking
Four
sucks.
movies.
It's like the one Marvel
Yeah.
movie that stinks.
And the only thing that's kind of disappointing is if he is Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards always has banter with Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, and if John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic moving forward, that probably won't happen because there won't be an Iron Man or a Hulk anymore.
I'm thinking Iron Man hangs around. I think he becomes Nick Fury eventually.
That'd be kind of cool.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
But this would be cool. I'd be all on this. And you know what my new thought was? They're doing a Doctor Doom movie, and for those of you who don't know, Doctor Doom is like a huge Marvel villain, mainly Fantastic Four, a bunch of other ones, I know that. It would be cool if they did a Doctor Doom, they did his origin story, and then maybe through his movies they brought in the Fantastic Four. That'd be a different way of
Ooh.
introducing him, and I think that could work.
Like kind of set up like he and Reed Richards are like partners. They
Yeah,
eliminate
something.
the other storyline.
Yeah.
Like of just all five of them go up on this space
And then they
adventure
come
and then they
together.
come together. It'd be cool if it was just Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom, and they kind of become adversaries, and we get to know just Reed Richards as an adversary to Doctor Doom, and then he somehow gets involved with the other
Yeah,
three members of the Fantastic Four. That'd be really cool.
And not
actually.
jam them all into one movie, and you could actually focus on Doctor Doom, who I think is inevitably going to become the Marvel villain after Thanos.
As he should be. Doctor
Yeah.
Doom is typically like referred to as probably the biggest Marvel villain.
Him or Magneto, probably.
Yeah, and so I mean, we've said it before. This is always like harping on stuff that we've talked about before on this podcast. But Doctor Doom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be amazing. The only shitty thing is that the Avengers are about to end in like 2 weeks, basically, because a lot of shit's gonna go down, and the Russo brothers already have a title for the next Avengers, but the only thing keeping them back is the fact that it reveals the plot for this movie. So we know some shit's gonna go down, and the Fantastic Four and like Doctor Doom aren't going to be adversaries and friends to all of the characters that we've already met so far in the Marvel universe.
No, it's going to have to be in the future. And these next two Avengers movies, I think, are going to give a pretty clean slate, mostly to the Avengers going forward. Because I think the main, right now, the main Avengers are Thor, Cap, Iron Man, probably those, Hulk, throw in a couple others. I think the ones moving forward are going to be Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, maybe the Guardians. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're kind of also at the forefront right now. Although they're in the cosmic universe. It's kind of their own thing. So there's a lot of... there's
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of characters
yeah.
moving forward, and I think that's maybe where the Fantastic Four come in. And I'd rather see them do the Fantastic Four than X-Men. X-Men,
Yeah.
I think their movie should just stay by themselves.
Because the thing is everybody wants a good Fantastic Four because there hasn't been one yet. We don't want to see another Wolverine for a while. And, you can't do an X-Men without Wolverine, basically. So, and people get so much flack, depending on the casting, I guess, of Wolverine. Well, even regardless, because Hugh Jackman, perfected the Wolverine role. Regardless of what's going to happen, X-Men, if you start remaking them into a Disney way and there are recastings and stuff like that, people are going to be mad. I don't know if anybody would be mad with a Fantastic Four. People will be pissed that it's coming out again because it'll be a Spider-Man situation.
That's why I think the way to do it would be through Doom.
Right.
To where you don't have to title the movie The Fantastic Four or whatever.
We should write the movie and then send it to Disney and maybe they use it.
Yeah, I'm taking an introductory screenplay class. I could definitely write a blockbuster film.
Yeah. We could work on it together.
Yeah.
Maybe they take it.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible, but it'd be fun.
We'll see.
We'd by the end have every Marvel character in there.
Yeah.
We'd be and then Iron Man comes in.
It's we'll get to work on it.
But John Krasinski would be great.
Yeah, that's
He'd be great.
That's the end point of this conversation. Is we both think John Krasinski would be a great Reed Richards.
Well, and he proved he could be an action star in that 13 Hours movie. I don't know if you saw it. It was good. I enjoyed it.
No, I haven't yet, but I heard he was good in it.
Yeah, he was really good in that, and he has that Jack Ryan show coming out.
Oh yeah,
which I'm into. I'm into that.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but he might become an action star, and Reed Richards would be a cool one.
And who's good in Quiet Place, but that you'll hear that later on.
He's great in The Quiet Place. So, move on?
Yeah. So, in spirit of the show, we've still got recurring topics. And these recurring segments, they, Mike, once again, have recurred once again, like some sort of boomerang. They just keep coming back. And once again, this week we're doing underrated, overrated. Again, it's a segment where Mike and I have created a list of divisive things that we'll decide whether or not they're underrated or overrated, and then at the end I'll give you my spiel on why you guys should let us know what you feel about these topics. But Mike, let's get started. Although my list is first, so I'll start us off. All right, Keurigs. Are Keurig coffee makers or tea makers or hot chocolate makers sometimes? Are they underrated or overrated?
There's no disputing that a pot of coffee makes way better coffee than a Keurig does. It's stronger, the taste is better. But in terms of if you don't want to make a whole pot or if you're on the go, the Keurig is underrated. I am now on my third box of 100 K-Cups for, is it 100 or 90?
It's 100.
It's 100. That is my third of this year.
Oh.
So I am working towards 300 cups of coffee for this school year. I use the Keurig a lot.
Yeah,
so
minus the ones that
underrated.
you've had, on
minus
regular.
the pot coffee.
Yeah.
Minus the pot coffee.
Yeah. I love the Keurig. Keurigs help me get into coffee. But I'm going to call them overrated because of the reasons you said. Because, there is better coffee. And it is quicker and you get one cup and that's all you want if you're having coffee. But, coming from a person who started on the Keurig and was never a coffee person, I've now been introduced to this giant
world of coffee,
giant Marvel universe of coffee, and I enjoy the drip coffee maker and I like it a lot. So and when I was back home for spring break, I didn't have any coffee from my parents' Keurig. They threw out our old drip coffee maker, and I was upset to hear that.
So you had no coffee over break?
I stopped at Dunkin' maybe once, I think.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine.
But I'm on this. I was pretty heavily reliant on coffee at the beginning of this semester, and certainly towards the end of last semester. So I'm trying to wean myself off of the fact that it's a necessity, but really I can't because during the week I go to Dunkin' 3 or 4 times.
And I always come back to when we're adults and we're going to have to get up for jobs, and we're going to have to get up early. That's why coffee becomes a necessity. I am I can't get through I wake up at 8 and I can't get through the morning without coffee. If I have to wake up at 5 or 6, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. But you're going overrated on the Keurig.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's the fast food of coffees.
It is. Next one, fish as pets.
We're not specifying what kind of fish.
No, just any fish.
Fish as pets is overrated because they generally always die really early. You don't care about the fish. I always come back to this. The Rushes, a good friend of ours, the family of ours, they have a fish, and they care so little about this fish. And by the way, it's ginormous at this point. It has its own tank. They want it to die, but they can't kill it. And they've named it. They were so lazy not to give it a name that they named it Fish, and it's spelled Pische with a thing on the end of the E.
Yeah.
Fish. That is the title of their fish. And that about sums up fish as pets. You don't care about them. They stink.
Right.
And it's not worth it taking care of them.
Fish ate all of their other fish, too.
Yeah.
So they've been left with fish. But fish as pets are so stupid. And, you gotta clean the bowl. If they do survive longer than a week, you have to clean the bowl, and you have to do all these things, and they're gross, and they smell bad, and they're terrible. And for the longest time, Big Jim didn't want us to get a dog, so we'd get fish like weekly. We had new fish all the goddamn time, and they were terrible. And my fish, I'd always get these little small stripe ones, and I kept calling them stripes. Just there was stripes 1 and stripes 2. I think there were like 6 stripes, but they always lasted long. Sean would always get a goldfish and name him Goldie, and Goldie would always die.
Yeah, the goldfish never last long.
No, and that's hilarious. So goldfish are kind of orange though.
At my cousin's house, he has a fish tank. He wants to get a piranha to see it eat all the other fish.
It's pretty sadistic.
That's why you don't care about fish. Stink.
Yeah.
The only use for fish is eating them and catching them on a hook.
Yeah, like in good fish too. I mean, like you don't need a goldfish.
Goldfish though are delicious.
Like the snack.
Yeah, that's my top 2 snack. That and Gardettos.
Yeah. I saw a Twitter poll the other day. It was Cheez-Its or goldfish, and I went with Cheez-Its.
That's a divisive one.
It is. There are goldfish people, and here's the thing. I
What
love.
poll was winning?
I love Cheez-Its won. Cheez-Its won. I think it was like 57.
43.
43. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Which is all right. I mean, that was a decent battle, but Cheez-Its I think are superior to goldfish, but not flavor blasted goldfish. The extra cheddar flavor blasted is like.
That's God's.
That's a top 5 snack right there. Yeah. That's amazing.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Double bubble gum. Couldn't have a little league ball game without a bucket of double bubble gum in the dugout.
Overrated. The taste doesn't last long.
No, and there's the regular pink kind. And then there was the kinds where they were like fruity, and there were watermelon, and there was grape, and then there was watermelon, grape, and I think maybe like sour apple.
That sounds right.
I used to love the grape kind. I'd put like 6 pieces of the grape in my mouth just so the flavor would last long.
Well, you know what
the grape gum was fantastic.
Yeah, what always happened with those is you'd either have not enough or too much in your mouth.
Yeah. And you just have this big wad of gum on the side of your mouth. And the thing is, the fact that you have to do that just to keep the flavor. The double bubble gum is overrated. Although, if you handed me a piece of that double bubble grape gum, like I'm gonna savor it because it is really good, but really not good for your teeth. They're not. Like the fact that they make gum like taste good is bad because, you just sit there and like eat it.
I'd say New 5 is the king of gum. Personally,
I like extra.
Extra's not bad.
Give extra, get extra.
Orbit's okay. Their flavors aren't that powerful, but I really love the mint New 5. That's my go-to.
I like 5, but they're expensive.
Yeah,
5 gum is expensive, and remember that rumor in grade school? I don't know if we went to different grade schools. At my grade school, it was one of the rumors one time that 5 gum wrappers were edible, so you could just stick the whole thing in your mouth.
No, we had sensibility there.
Yeah. So apparently us Catholics are just fucking retards because we were sticking gum wrappers gum with the gum wrapper still on it in our mouth. I did it once or twice, but there were kids who believed that the gum wrapper was edible.
Tastes like aluminum foil.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
All right.
And I remember somebody had the gag fucking shocking gum pack, and that was worse than cancer.
You should be allowed. You should be allowed to punch somebody in the face if they do that to you.
Oh, that was awful. Yeah. There was one that was like less severe, that it wasn't a shock. It was like a mouse trap. You pulled it out and then it'd snap your finger.
Still, it's like I don't need this.
No. Yeah. You should be able to stab their eyes out if they do that to you. All right, next one. Another dugout. Oh, wait, I don't even think I said underrated or overrated. Double bubble is overrated.
I think you said it's overrated.
Yeah. Sunflower seeds, another dugout snack. I don't know why I was feeling baseball today.
I'm going underrated. I like the seeds. There's a lot of different ones. I never used them to the capacity that I wanted to, but I remember people always had them. By the end, there was like ranch, barbecue, buffalo, and they're all fucking awesome.
Yeah, they are.
But nothing beats the OG. Just
It's
salted
just a regular
to hell.
salted
Yeah.
sunflower seeds, and you can't go on a baseball diamond and not find little
Seeds,
seed shells, and it was great. I remember for the longest time I struggled, like getting the little nuts out.
Oh, I just bite into this. I'd like position it to where it was like sideways, and I just crunch down, and it would like pop into my tongue.
Yeah,
I had a system down.
yeah. Sometimes I'd just like put them in my mouth, suck all the salt off, and then spit them out whole.
That's mainly what I did. I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, you're supposed to eat the little things inside.
That's like an asterisk.
Yeah, but now
It's a lot of work.
Now they sell sunflower seeds like just the little seeds inside, though, like the things you're supposed to eat.
Yeah, but that's gay.
It is gay. Regardless of its sexuality, sunflower seeds are underrated because they are a superior ballpark snack than to double bubble gum.
We have just thrown being problematic out the door.
Yeah, well,
We don't care at this point.
yeah.
If you're offended, again, go listen to NPR. A better podcast, but
Who gives a shit? Yeah. Go listen to NPR if you want political correctness. Because that's not us. We review movies.
No, political correctness, very overrated.
Yeah.
Very gay.
It's very gay.
Very gay.
It's pretty gay.
Yeah.
I was walking down the stairs last night from the parking garage to go to work at the newspaper. And I was walking down the stairs, and these people were walking up the stairs. And this one girl, I was eavesdropping, but not really. It was in a stairwell and things that go. And this one girl's like, "Yeah, but I was listening to the lecture, and he called this thing queer, meaning different. I think they should come up with a new word for different, because queer isn't okay. It's offensive to gay people." And I was just like,
You should have called it
What?
a C word.
I said, "What?" The reason the gay community was ever referred to as queer is because it was different. And then they adapted it as part of their
It's
LGBTQ.
LGBTQ. Q.
Yeah.
For queer.
Yeah, for different.
Queer meaning gay. Was he gay? That's a Baby Driver reference.
But I couldn't believe it. I wanted this fucking chick to choke on her next meal, because I couldn't believe it. I was just like, do you know, we're on the campus of a university. Do you go here, or do you fucking sit on the internet and listen to fucking assholes tell you what's right and wrong?
Sounds like that.
Yeah,
Sounds like
I
that.
think so. It was unbelievable.
Let's move
Let's
on.
move on.
I
I'm
don't
just
wanna
gonna
get my
sit
blood
here and
boiling.
get pissed off. Yeah. Madden NFL video games. Are they underrated or overrated? Everybody knows the Madden is the NFL, football games on many major consoles and
Madden
mobile games.
is the Call of Duty of sports games.
Yep.
Overrated.
Yep.
They at a certain point they were all the same. I've seen the past couple years. I watched the gameplay. They and I actually played the most recent one, and it was a little different. But after a while, it's like you just stop buying them, because there was a time between, I'd say, like Madden 10 and Madden 15 where it was just the same game, and I think I bought all of them. And it's like, fuck you for
It's
getting
just
my
like,
money.
Right. I mean, if they come out with a game every year, their base start off for the next one is like, okay, so now for like Madden 19, they're going to use the base of Madden 18 and then build off of it
Yeah,
and
that's what they
improve
always do.
graphical
Yeah.
stuff. And I know it's a sports video game and there's a new season every year, so they have to do that. But like, if they didn't, and they did it like every other year, you'd give people some
I just think
some
they should do
room to
updates
improve.
to the rosters. I
Right.
think that would be the most fair way to do it instead of just scheming you for money every time.
Because I feel like Madden games have been the absolute same since Madden '07.
Yeah, basically.
Madden '07 was like the first game that was on PS3 and Xbox 360, and that's when like graphics started to improve. But since then, just running animations, like the gameplay, everything is just the exact same. And Madden NFL football games are overrated.
They are.
'Cause they're just
As are the 2K games, but I still get the 2K games usually get me to buy them.
2K just, I mean, they'll always add something new. If they know, like, they'll always do something different with the gameplay. They'll try and make it more
try new features,
smoother,
too.
and they'll try new features. They'll change up the My Career mode drastically, and now they've added a bunch more classic teams, which is really gaining popularity. If they can just get a few more rights to different players, they can have like even more classic teams, and so they're getting people to buy it. And if more people are playing with the classic teams than the other teams, they should try and get more rights to more players and more classic teams. But Madden hasn't done that. Like, you can't play as the 85 Bears. And I remember in like Madden '09, you could unlock the 85 Bears, but then like Walter Payton was running back number 34. It wasn't even Walter Payton.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of stupid. Yeah.
Let's move on. Madden's overrated.
Next one is Twitch and other gaming streaming services. The underrated, overrated.
I don't understand the concept of watching people play video games. Mm-hmm. If I want to watch a gameplay trailer, that's different. That'll get me to buy a game, but I really don't understand. Like, people in my class sit next to me and on their computer have a Fortnite gaming stream up. And I'm like, go home. Why are you at class?
Yeah.
Why you can go home and play the fucking game? Why are you at class?
You can play the game in class on your computer
on
there,
your phone now.
or on your phone. That's why they made the mobile version.
I'm not a fan of like Twitch and all that. I don't get it. I'm going overrated. It just never appealed to me, and I don't get the concept of watching other people play video games.
Right. I'm there with you to a point. Sometimes people who have like early access to games, or like if a game comes out in Europe before it comes out here, like
that's more what I was saying with the gameplay.
You can kind of see like gameplay trailers, and you can see other people with the early access play it first, and there it's good. I will also say that, like, for some people, they've turned a job, like, their passion of playing video games, they've able to turn that into a job, and, people who are dedicated to them will donate them money, which they can use, and that's like a cool source of income that they don't have to leave their room to make money. But, why watch somebody play a game when you can just play it yourself?
That's what I always come down to, yeah.
It's like, Fortnite is a big one. There's this guy named Ninja who's like the most popular streamer in the world. Like, he played Fortnite squads with Juju Smith-Schuster, Drake, and Travis Scott, I think.
Was that the guy who got like 24 kills?
Yeah.
And he was screaming.
Yeah. And
that was funny.
And he's an incredible player, but people just watch this guy constantly, and it's just like, play the game.
Yeah.
Games are there so you can play them, not to watch other people play them.
Yeah.
Unless you like, and if somebody can't afford a game, this is their way of like kind of playing the game if they watch somebody's Let's Play series. But like, and that there's another positive to it there. But they have Twitch apps on like the gaming systems themselves where you can watch people play it. So I think I'm in the middle on it, but I think they're slightly overrated because way too many people would rather watch other people play games than play them themselves.
Yeah.
So, more overrated on that one. Next one, Disney's Hercules, the 1997 animated film.
It's been a while since I've seen Hercules, but I've seen a lot of clips recently of James Woods
Hmm.
as Hades, and I remember it being a lot of fun when I was younger. So I'm gonna say it's rated because it's definitely popular. So I can't call it like overrated or underrated because it's definitely not underrated. People know about it. Although in the grand scheme of like popular Disney movies, I guess it is underrated.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
that was the focal point I was going to
yeah.
go on. I think it deserves more respect because Hades and James Woods voicing Hades is like he's an all timer, and I feel like he's underrated as a villain. And I'm gonna underrate Hercules solely because of Hades.
He has like a blue
Firehead.
blue fire head.
And one of the songs from Hercules, "I Can Go the Distance," like that's an all-timer Disney song right there. That might be like my favorite Disney song from a movie. It's a great song.
Over Bare Necessities.
I think so.
Bare Necessities is a good one.
I think so. Maybe not over "I Want to Be Like You" though. That's a good song.
I
I
I
like it. I
thought
like it
in
more
the
than Bare Necessities.
in the animated version, I Want to Be Like You was better than it was in the live action.
In the live action, Bare Necessities is better.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken's version of King Louie was just odd.
It was just in the movie. It's like, oh, we need this song.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like. Even though that segment was really cool.
Yeah.
With him like chasing him. Great movie.
Yeah.
Just not my favorite part. So we're both
Underrated.
on Hercules.
Next one, another Disney movie, Big Hero 6.
The Marvel animated movie.
Yes.
That's basically, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6 is awesome, but I can't call it underrated because it won Best Animated Film.
But on a general, just a general audience goer, like for Disney movies, kind of the same way we looked at Hercules, just in like the grand scheme of Disney films.
Well, yeah, I think it's a movie everyone should see, so I'll
Yeah.
go that route. But it's hard for me to call a movie that like was praised as underrated.
Yeah. I hear that, and I guess I didn't think about that like it did win that. But I think in a general talking sense of terms, when people say Disney movies, like I think out of Big Hero 6 is like a great movie out of the last couple of years, and I think it should be generated in talks of like,
It,
one of the best Disney
yeah,
movies.
it's definitely for this generation too because of the superhero aspect of it. It's definitely in the now,
Yeah.
and it's not like it couldn't be made in the 80s.
Yeah. And Baymax is dope.
Baymax is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the same page there. And here's one more Disney movie, which I think we'll be on the same page once again. Or maybe not. I don't know. Disney Pixar's Wall-E.
Yeah, I don't like Wall-E.
You don't.
I've said this before. I couldn't get into it, and I find it massively overrated. It was another one that won Best Animated. I think it has some cool things to say, but it's really heavy-handed, and that's why I don't. People love this movie. It's like an 8.4 on IMDb and stuff. I didn't like it when I saw it. Maybe it would have to be a rewatch, but when I saw it, I didn't like it at all.
I
I
think.
didn't like Eve. I didn't like any of that.
Oh, really?
No.
Now, see, I think Wall-E's underrated because there are a lot of people who don't like it, and I kind of don't. I don't get that because I think it is good and I like they're obviously they have a message about pollution and everything like that and in that aspect yeah I do see your point to where it's heavy handed but I think it's a cute story and I feel like a lot of people our age that's what I hear like people don't like Wall-E.
It's because we grew up with Toy Story, Up, Pick Your Poison, but a lot of people just like those movies more. And I think in terms of entertainment, when we're younger, Wall-E is not the most entertaining in terms of like relatability.
Sure.
Up is really relatable, as is Toy Story, and I think that's why those are a lot of fan favorites. To where WALL-E is a little bit of a deeper movie, and I think it's actually an animated film that's meant for adults a little bit. So that's why I say I might need to rewatch it. But when I saw it when I was a kid, I wasn't having fun.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I would like to see it again, like from an adult's perspective. The song from the credits, I remember, is really good from that movie.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right. It's your list now.
It's my list.
Yeah. Do you got it pulled up?
Yeah, it's on here. All right, my first one: change holders in cars.
Underrated, because if you need to pay the meter, or like you want to pay exact change for like fast food, if you're sitting there and they're like, oh, it's 207, and you got your two singles out, and you got your change holder there, and you got a dime and 2 pennies, or not a dime and 2 pennies, a nickel and 2 pennies, and you can just hand it over right there. But if you just kind of throw your change away or do God knows what with it, then you know, what are you doing? You can't ever pay the meter, and you can't pay exactly for fast food.
They are a necessity. But hear me out. They're fantastic in terms of paying for meters, but there's also so many times you're in your car and you need to pay for something, whether it be fast food or you're going into a garage, and you forget the change holders there, and you have the opportunity to pay the exact amount, and you don't. And because it always skips my head that it's so dead set on meters. So this is more my fault for not remembering it's there, but I'm going overrated.
I just see, like, some people,
they're so necessary.
Some people literally throw their change away.
Yeah.
Like, you're throwing away money.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of situation are you in where you're throwing away money? I'll throw away a few pennies every once in a while. But, like, you know, it's there. You gotta use the change meter. I hate when it's like overflowing, though. You know.
That was another thing I was gonna say, is when it overflows, it's such a pain.
Yeah.
And again, that's more on the person. But the last thing on your mind is your fucking change holder in your car.
Right. You know, they just did this whole thing. They took out all the, like, change meters in Columbia, Missouri, where we're located. And they put in these new kiosks where you have to download an app and you can pay for your parking spot
Really?
on that.
I hate that.
They're going full digital. I feel like you can still put cash and change in those machines. But
yeah, you'd have to.
Right?
Not everyone has the opportunity to just pull it up on their phone.
Right. So, but all you have to do is just enter in your license plate number and then put it in, rather than like putting it in Bay 1 or Bay 2, which Ryan got a ticket for because we paid for Bay 2, but we were parked in Bay 1.
That was my fault.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
It was my fault. I told him the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I think it was like a $10 fine anyway.
I paid it.
Yeah.
But he had to, like, go through everything.
Yeah.
I felt bad.
All right, next one.
So you were
I was
underrated.
yeah.
You were underrated.
Yeah.
And because I'm a pessimist, I was overrated. So my next one is candles.
Yeah. I think candles are underrated because they smell nice and they give off a good scent, and they're good, you know, but you know, sometimes people use them for ashtrays, and that's not good.
I've done that.
Yeah. And the scent doesn't get in your face. I don't hate incense, but, like, I prefer a candle over incense because, like, it doesn't get all in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Incense can be really strong. Now that we're talking about it, we might have had it on here before.
Candles?
We might have.
Did we?
I don't know. But in terms of setting the mood and not being in your face with the smell, yeah, they're underrated.
Hmm.
But that's where I kind of like incense at times, to where if I want a strong smell, a candle won't give it. I'm still giving an overall underrated to candles, but there's some things with incense that I like more.
Yeah.
That's just me. But yeah, candles are awesome.
I don't know if we've had candles before. If you're a dedicated listener, go back into one of our old episodes and see if we've done candles and underrated, overrated before. I don't think we have, but I don't know if we did.
Possible.
It doesn't matter, does it?
So not at all.
Maybe you can compare our old views
Yeah,
on
for
candles to our
hypocrites.
new ones. Yeah.
We probably said the opposite.
Yeah, fact check us.
So my next one is the movie Yes Man, starring Jim Carrey and Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, which was on earlier.
Yeah, it was just on HBO.
Yeah, underrated. I really enjoy that movie. Like it was kind of like Jim Carrey was back. I feel like he hadn't been. The movie came out in 2008, and he hadn't been in stuff for a while before then, at least on a national scale. And then, it was kind of Zoe Deschanel's kind of like breakout thing too. Like she
That and Elf.
yeah, and she kind of came out like big after that. So and it's funny. It's a really funny movie. It's a funny concept, and I enjoyed it. I remember I was 11 when it came out, but me and my buddy Jack and his dad took us to go see that movie. And we were seeing a PG-13 movie when we were
So
11.
you were
so
cool.
so it was pretty cool. Yeah, and it was funny.
Yeah, I'm also going underrated. When people talk about classic Jim Carrey movies, I think Yes Man's often overlooked because people just think of it as a comedy, but I think it has a really cool message about life, and it's just a nice upbeat movie that's fun to throw on in the afternoon. It's like a really good afternoon watch. And Jim Carrey has some really classic Jim Carrey bits in it. The Red Bull one's funny, even though
Yeah.
it's kind of been overplayed to hell. When it came out, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was just watching one that I completely forgot, is when he gets hammered at the bar, makes out with a guy's girlfriend, and then they fight. And he hits the wrong guy in the crowd watching the fight. And the guy's like, "You asshole, I'm not even fighting. I'm not even the guy." And he goes, "Well, maybe you should start being the guy," or something like that. It's really funny. So, yeah, Yes Man's underrated. I really
Yeah.
enjoy it.
It's a good one. What's that?
Next, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot it. I was still going. Radio music.
Overrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pop radio has turned into like, getting all these brand new stupid songs on there that are just noise and it's just radio has kind of fallen into a regular formula.
Yeah.
And a lot of classic rock stations are disappearing for new pop radio or classic rap, which is crazy. And I've really recently gone full aux because I can't even turn on the radio anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Very overrated. And the classic rock stations that do exist, I don't know who runs them, because all they do is replay the same songs every day. They play, while I love it, they play Hotel California and a couple of other ones, and it's just like, there are so many other songs you could be playing.
I like, a station that's now obsolete back home in Chicago. They used to do like ABC days where like they'd only play songs that started with A, and then
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
That makes you dig.
because it you're gonna hear a song you've never heard before.
Yeah.
and it's just like, if it's from the bottom of some, you know like Bruce Springsteen album and it's not a well-known song, you're getting that into circulation, and it's just like that might become someone's new favorite song because you're bringing it back. But now, replacing that with classic rap. I guess there is classic rap now.
90s, late 80s.
Yeah, I guess.
Snoop Dogg. So, my final one, which I accidentally deleted, but I remembered, is the Grand Theft Auto games.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 now.
Well, there's more than
The
that.
games developed,
but
well,
they're-
in the saga.
Yeah.
And they are games created by the company Rockstar, which has also done Red Dead Redemption and I don't know. I don't feel like digging. But they're a popular gaming company. So, are you going overrated? Oh, LA Noire as well.
Hmm.
Are you going overrated or underrated on the Grand Theft Auto games?
I'm going overrated because it's a very saturated, oversaturated like type of video game for the longest time, or for like the mid 2000s, it became like the game, and a lot of video games kind of like made their change to want to be like GTA. I remember like a lot of classic PS2 games that are very recognizable and some of my favorite franchises ever, but once they went like off the rails into kind of the mid 2000s PS2 era, they became the GTA style formulaic, and the GTA style formulaic for a video game is very repetitive, but Jak and Daxter, that series went to kind of be like GTA. Ratchet and Clank went to kind of be like GTA. Spyro the Dragon even became like GTA in the mid 2000s once a new company got a hold of him. Like he had different, instead of Spyro is a dragon and dragons have fire breath, but like they gave like Spyro like machine gun breath and fucking ice
Oh,
breath and stuff like that. That just kind of like made it. It was still a Spyro
yeah.
platformer, but they made it like GTA, and that kind of dominated the era, and it's kind of overstayed its welcome as a gaming style. Although GTA 5 was a great game, they changed it up. They added new stories, and they kind of brought GTA back into like a non-repetitive play style, but like once again, it's still you're stealing cars and killing people.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think it's oversaturated and overrated a little bit.
So I'm with you 110% that they're overrated. They were very influential in their open world format,
Hmm.
and I think that's a good thing
Yeah.
because open world is amazing. I'm playing Far Cry 5 right now, which has a great open world. But my problem with Rockstar and the GTA games is while they are fun and they're made to be easily accessible to people, which they're very successful at, they I think play it safe every single time they release a GTA game. That's why I love Red Dead Redemption so much. It's so refreshing to
Hmm.
be in the Wild West and LA Noire. You're a detective in I think the 30s or 40s around like Prohibition or something. And those are really refreshing takes. But every time they make a GTA game, to me, it's like they're playing it safe. They have the opportunity to do so many different things. They could do a sci-fi with their format that they
Yeah.
have in their open world and gameplay that's really good. They could do a sci-fi. They could do. I was saying they could do a mob epic, which would be really cool. And I just get so sick of we're in a new city and these guys are pieces of shit and they rob banks, and it's just like you could do so many different things. You've shown you can, so commit to it and stop making GTA games. You don't need to do it.
Right.
I know it's your big seller, but I just think it's playing it safe, and they don't have the depth the other games have. I think.
Right now, they're working on a Star Wars open world game. Imagine if like you kind of got to choose what you wanted to be in the Star Wars universe, and if you wanted to be like a bounty hunter and a scum, and it was kind of like GTA but Star Wars.
It'd be amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
And that'd be great. And Red Dead was their kind of like was their attempt at like an old western, and they succeeded. Although it's not with the GTA property, like Rockstar obviously, has good standing and doing something different. L.A. Noire wasn't as successful, but it was an old mob thing. But what if they made like a GTA like 1920
That's what I was
Chicago?
meaning. That's
Like
I'd love that.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And so they've got a lot of potential to go on, but like yeah, it's just gotten
I
oversaturated.
got to the point where I played GTA 5 so much that I changed my character's look and his car and his guns to be just in like a mobster in like the 1920s because it's like I am sick of this fucking same world that they keep putting us in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're fun and I play the shit out of them, but they're overrated.
Yeah. All right, that wraps up our underrated, overrated segment. Let us know about any of the topics that we talked about, whether you think they're underrated, overrated, or if you have any other ideas for future underrated, overrated, or for any other discussion topic you have for us. Let us know. But we're moving on to our movie review of A Quiet Place, starring John Krasinski. It was also directed by him. Um, So, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from creatures that hunt by sound. This movie stars Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe.
It's a terrible last name.
Yeah, it is. All right, Mike, what are your positives for A Quiet Place?
So this movie is getting rave reviews.
Yeah.
People love it. They're hailing it a horror classic. And we need to make one thing very clear. The environment we saw this movie in was a theater that was plagued by girls our age that wouldn't stop talking and giggling during the movie, so bad to the point where another audience member screamed at them. So, I really think that we could have, if the environment was good, we could have really been into this movie and loved it. Mm-hmm. But we kept getting taken out of it due to the interruptions.
Yep.
So as it stands, I really like this movie. I think it's a really strong movie. But again, due to the present circumstances, I don't think I can give it a fair review.
Right.
So we're going to do with what we have. And the main positives I have is the atmosphere that was made by John Krasinski, who directed the film, as we said. It was really, really cool to, like, the creatures hunt by sound. So every single moment in this movie matters.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And you were on the edge of your seat the entire time. And it was really interesting. And so that, number one, was fantastic. I think he has a really strong future, both as an actor. He's not just Jim Halpert, funny guy from The Office, and as a director. He just showed a lot of talent. Emily Blunt has this sequence in the movie which was incredible. I mean, oh my God, it was terrifying. And so she was great, and as were the kids.
Yeah.
They weren't forced to speak a lot, and they didn't have the tennis ball effect of just like, hey, look scared and look in this direction. They actually seemed scared.
Yeah.
So both the atmosphere and the acting made for a really cool family dynamic, and it made you care about these characters, which is something a horror movie doesn't often do. So my biggest compliment just goes as how John Krasinski made a really tight movie that was an hour and a half long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you and everything. The acting was incredible. Emily Blunt, that sequence, and I mean, it was shown in the trailer, like she's about to have a baby. There's like probably like 15, 20 minutes surrounding that of her just like incredible acting work.
Yeah.
And John Krasinski being the other star, but then her actual real life husband.
Right.
Like there was just real like emotion there. And that was probably difficult to do. I mean, like I feel like, directing and working with your significant other could be a very difficult thing, but these two really seemed to enjoy doing that, just being able to bring their real life marriage into a fictional movie marriage, and it worked. They were great. Like you said, the kids were great. But a movie about making sounds is what can kill you. This movie made all sounds just scary.
Yeah.
Basically. Like leaving the theater, like you're afraid to make loud sounds. And it just there's a score to this movie at some points in time,
yeah.
and the score is great, and it's very like emotional, just kind of like drawn out violin and stuff like that, but just the natural diegetic sounds of that world whether it be like you even get conscious about the sounds that their footsteps are making because you're like, oh, is that too loud? Is
Yeah.
that, like you're concerned for the world, and that being a part of the plot, and the sound editing team, whoever, just being able to make everything. And none of the points were just like, okay, that thing's not that loud, but it is, like alarm clocks are dropping something, or everything was made just like, oh shit, like I wouldn't last in this universe. I
No.
can't keep from being quiet. So like, it's crazy. They made sound scary, and I gotta applaud John Krasinski overall as the director and star in this movie. He like you said, breaking out of that Jim Halpert role. He can do stuff, and I want to see him go on and do more stuff because this was just a very talented effort by him, and a very really kind of well done horror film.
Just a ton of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Which is something that loses focus often in movies in general, not just horror movies.
Right.
And his was like, that's why I said it's a tight hour and a half. The movie doesn't draw it out at all. It takes place in 3 acts.
Yeah.
And the third act is the longest, but it's fast paced. It's really cool.
Right. And usually for like first time screenwriters and stuff like that. I mean, he was a comedy writer on Conan
Right.
before he worked on The Office, and I'm sure he wrote and directed some Office episodes too towards the end. But like, this was very impressive as a horror movie for him, and he's got a lot of creativity, knows when to start and when to stop, and kind of didn't leave any side plots unanswered or anything like that. It's just tight, well-rounded story.
Yeah.
Let's talk about negatives.
So I had two negatives with this movie, and they again might change if I see it again. Like I said, I might love it after, but my first one is the horror tropes where things appear kind of out of the blue just to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens a couple times in this movie just to spur events. And I know that's kind of just what happens in horror movies, but as I've said before, I'm not a horror guy. I'm overly critical of horror movies because I think they often take the easy way out. And I think in this movie, with how really well done it was, there was some times where stuff seemed written in.
Yeah.
So I held that as my one big negative. It's not really something that needs to be harped on. It's just, it was noticeable and bothered me. And the second one is, I thought the movie ended a bit abruptly. There was this big emotional high and this big event that happened, and then an event that follows, and then the movie ends. And there was really no resolution.
I was gonna say it was similar to M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. Have you ever seen that? I'd say the ending was like that, where there's this huge build up to like how the movie's gonna end and how are they gonna defeat these creatures and everything like that. And the way they figure it out and the way the movie ends is very similar to Signs. It all just kind of happens, and I don't think it falls victim to that. I think it was all right because you can kind of assume what happens after that.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that might be one of the things that changes, because I feel like most of the movie had been stolen from us because of the audience.
Because of the
he yelled with 15 minutes left, and that all took place in the last 15 minutes. So I think that's why I said my opinion might change.
Definitely, and I agree with you, because the climax of the film was when these girls started to be at their loudest, and it was awful. It was terrible. Was that all the negatives you had?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. Just it kind of fell into some normal horror movie tropes, but it is a horror movie. Like, jump scares, stuff like that, like, is gonna happen. To where like they kind of dangle bait in front of you, like, oh, this is gonna be significant later. It does happen. The way the movie like opens is just kind of like. It is a story about this family and how they've survived. But there are like 5 actors in this movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of want to know about the world around it. But like, there aren't other people there to say. And this could be a nitpicky type of thing because it does get explained why there aren't that many people. Obviously, there are creatures that attack sound, but like the way the movie opened is like day 89, and it was like there was nobody there, and then it extends, and
Yeah,
then
the
it's like
day
day, and then it's like
selection
day 400 and whatever, and it looks like nothing has changed. I mean, like the family has gotten a little bit better about not making sound,
Yeah, it's almost like none of that was really needed.
but it didn't matter. Like I
No.
don't think we needed to know what day it was because even though it was day 89 and then it jumped to day 400, was like it was almost like there was no difference.
This is why what I think they should have done is just open with the movie and the circumstance that the movie starts with,
Mm-hmm.
and then that we all know what happens at the end of that point, and then they should have just said sometime in the future or
Right,
something like
like
that. I
like
think
two
that
like 2 years later.
yeah,
And yeah, I found that kind of off-putting at the beginning, but I mean, other than like the real life negative that was our annoying theater, I didn't really have anything else wrong with it. I
it's
mean, it
not a
was
really flawed movie.
no, it's very tight knit. John Krasinski covered all his bases, and it's entertaining. It's really a well written, well directed horror movie.
Yeah.
All right, you want to rate this?
I am going 3 3/4, so 3.75.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. But my personal score of that will be tentative because I do want to see it again and hopefully not get interrupted rudely again by people because when the movie is all about being quiet and there isn't a lot of sound in the movie, you hear everything in the theater. You hear people crunching their popcorn and like moving around.
Yeah.
So, any laughing, giggling, phones going off is incredibly way more noticeable watching this movie than any other movie you've seen. So,
Yeah, and we saw it in RPX.
yeah.
I was honestly just baffled. I was so pissed off that someone ruined the theater experience for me. Next time that happens, I was already talking to my dad. I was like, what would you have done? He goes, I would have gone and got an usher and got him kicked out. I'm like, that's a good idea. I should have done that.
Well, I think it was the usher's fault. So,
Yeah,
well,
people kept coming in too.
people kept coming into the theater in the middle of the movie, like looking for seats, clearly with a movie going on, and they didn't realize that this wasn't the movie they were seeing. But the ushers obviously had to send them to that theater, or they were just stupid and couldn't figure out what the numbers on the theater were. But people kept walking into our theater and making noise in the middle of the movie, and it's like the usher probably told them it was the wrong theater, or they were stupid.
So right now our mean is a 3.6.
Yeah, 3.6 out of 5 Goldblums. Very entertaining movie. Definitely a must-see. Hopefully people are quiet in the theater you see it in. So that's our rating, 3.6. Where would Jeff Goldblum have fit into this movie?
He could have been the old man.
Yeah, that's really the only thing he could have been because
Yeah.
other than the family, that's the only other character in this movie.
Or when they were like lighting the torches, they could have gone to one of them and like he's like sitting there by one of the fires.
Yeah.
So
That would have been great.
So I would definitely implore people to see this movie, especially if you're a horror fan, and they will probably enjoy it more than we did because their theater won't be filled with a bunch of assholes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the main topic. Mike, the main topic this week was your idea. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we had no topic before the show, so I just wrote this down. Where would you go in an apocalyptic situation? Now a lot of apocalypse movies have been made, and it seems everywhere people go, they ultimately will fail eventually.
Well, despite being kind of a city guy, you can't go to a city. It's way too heavily
hell no.
populated. If there was some sort of apocalypse that poisoned people and turned them into zombies or whatever, like cities would be the first things to fall. So I'd go out into the country and I'd try and live on like a mountain, kind of like on the like maybe like a quarter of the way up the mountain. So like it's high enough, and I can travel down the mountain, go and get supplies and food or whatever in a nearby town. But I'd want to live in seclusion, and I think I could live that lifestyle despite being a city guy if that came to it. But then also being on a mountain, you have the high ground. And as we know, as Fortnite players and as fans of Star Wars, we know the high ground is very important for survival.
Very much so.
So if you have the high ground, you're safe. So I'd want some high ground in the base of a mountain. Just have some nice, beautiful scenery. Could see the Earth the way it was before people ruined it. And then I'd live close enough to a town to go get supplies. And I assume like my truck could work.
Yeah, ideally that's the situation. I think that everyone would the smart answer would be go to seclusion, right? That's what they do in The Walking Dead, and somehow they keep finding people because that show is just the best written show on television. And so the seclusion one is probably what I would do too. But hear me out. Wouldn't trying an island, is that a terrible idea? I feel like if you can somehow get on an island, that would be great because your accessibility would be very limited to people getting to you, right? So let's say like somewhere like fucking, I don't know, Guam or some bullshit is like untouched and you go to Guam. You know, an island could be okay.
I'd go to Hawaii.
Hawaii would be cool. You have water surrounding you, so there's not a lot of stuff getting to you.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Although
nice weather.
Puerto Rico got fucked up by a hurricane, didn't it?
Well, yeah, but in this situation, a hurricane's probably the least of your worries.
Or you could go suicide by apocalypse and like go to a city and like stand on top of a building and just fire off as many rounds and try and kill as many of them as you can before you get taken over.
Yeah, that'd be funny. It'd be funny. The first thing I'd do is, well, no, that's where everyone would go. That's why you gotta own arms. You already gotta bear arms, and you just gotta go where you're gonna go.
Could you go to Bass Pro? Because everybody would go to Bass Pro.
Every idiot would go to Bass Pro.
And some guy who's sick but doesn't know he has it would go to Bass Pro and get everybody at Bass Pro sick.
And then all the people who are smart, quote unquote, would die.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Krasinskis had a good idea in a quiet place.
Yeah,
they kind of had a
seclusion and
near a river
in Iowa or wherever. And near a river, you can drink from it and you can make noise by it.
This is also depending on what the apocalypse is. If it is a nuclear apocalypse, you go underground into a bunker.
Right. But
technically, a bunker is kind of a good idea in any scenario.
Yeah.
I might do that. I'm going bunker. Yeah.
You should build a bunker.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably someone who's been living in a bunker since the year 2000, thinking that Y2K happened.
There's got to be one.
Right?
He's been jerking off for 18 years.
But they probably have a radio or something down there, so they probably figured it out. Yeah. Unless they didn't.
10 Cloverfield Lane was fantastic because it was like an apocalyptic movie told from a bunker.
Apocalypto.
That's a Mel Gibson movie.
Yeah.
That's different. But 10 Cloverfield Lane was really good because it was like these two people were with John Goodman and they're like, is there really an apocalypse outside or is this guy just a fucking creep?
Yeah. I've never seen that movie.
It's really good.
I saw the first Cloverfield.
It's way different.
Yeah.
It's way different. I mean, it's like connected, but not really.
Apparently, this movie was originally supposed to be some sort of Cloverfield sequel.
I was sitting in the movie and I'm like, this, with how little explanation there is, they could have made it a Cloverfield movie. But they didn't. But, yeah.
I don't know. I should probably check those out.
So
I know what a Cloverfield movie is.
If you liked this movie, 10 Cloverfield Lane is like stylistically very similar.
Well, I love John Goodman, so I might have to see that anyway.
Really creepy in it. He was really good. But yeah, that is where we would go in an apocalyptic situation. We just threw it on the it's not an overly long topic, but we just threw it out there, and I know everyone has their different answers and different explanations. Dan's going to the high ground. I'm going as low as you can to a bunker. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and underrated, overrated always usually runs a little long, but that's our brief little main topic for today. Um, but that about wraps it up for today's podcast. Mike, did you have anything else you wanted to say to the folks before I close out
I
here?
think Rampage is next week, the Dwayne Johnson movie, and I am so excited to see that colossal, terrible movie.
Then the week after that is Avengers, right?
That's the 27th, so I think that's in 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Next week will be the
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks
Till Avengers. So we've got a few episodes
Although
to get through before then.
if Isle of Dogs is playing, we're gonna see that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will be.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll see a movie. We'll bring it back to you guys. But that wraps it up for today. If you liked our show, please rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. So we're there. We're 5-star men. Leave a 5-star review on our iTunes. There's comments there. Let us know what you think. If you have a different idea for a talking segment, or if you want to let us know what you thought about our talking segments today, please do so on Twitter and Facebook, where you can find us there as well. We are on SoundCloud and YouTube. You can find us there. We're all over the social medias. The links are in the description, and you can find us on there. But that's it. We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening, and we love you guys.
What if God was one of us? Just a slot like one of us.